Democrats planning to vote on President Biden's $1.9 trillion relief bill tomorrow without any Republican support. Is there anything that could be changed in the bill to win over some Republicans? Joining us right now is Democratic Congresswoman Haley Stevens of Michigan, also Republican Congressman Jodey Arrington of Texas. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
You just heard the question I raised. It appears that this is going to be led by Democrats without any Republican support. Is there anything that could happen in the next 24 hours you think that's going to change that dynamic?
I see no desire on the part of my Democratic colleagues to work with Republicans. This is the first time in 5 pieces of legislation prior that this is a straight partisan play. We've spent $4 trillion together in bipartisan packages. We have $1 trillion unspent that's working its way through the system, $60 billion in education assistance alone. This is so riddled with wasteful spending, barriers to our recovery, like paying people more to be on unemployment than to be in their previous job. It's fraught with bailouts like union pension bailouts and rewarding behavior that pre-existed COVID with cities and states who are fiscally irresponsible. It's hard to cover all the ground of how bad this bill is. It's not disaster relief for the most part. It's a disaster in and of itself. I can't imagine a single Republican voting for this.
Congresswoman Stevens, is there an opportunity for any type of compromise here?
I would say the time to act is now. And I believe that colleagues on the other side of the aisle, when push comes to shove, are going to join us. And I'm going to tell you why. This is triage. We just recognized 500,000 lives lost to this pandemic. We all know we need the funding for the vaccines, the testing. We're long overdue with some of the economic provisions of this bill, the $1,400 stimulus check, the monies needed to reopen our schools fully and safely. We're talking personnel dollars here. And just take it from the economists and those who are supporting this bill outside the chamber. We've got the U.S. Chamber of Commerce supporting this bill. We've got the U.S. Conference of Mayors. We've got executives who come from both parties who are saying we need this American Rescue Plan. Stabilize the health of this country, stabilize the economy.
Congresswoman, though, how important, I understand the arguments on both sides. The question I'd ask you is how important early on, especially in the beginning here of the Biden administration, is it for there to be any kind of compromise at all? Because clearly there is no compromise as of now. And there are some, you have to think that there's some merit or meritorious views on the other side at some level, right? And so is there nothing that can happen between now and then? Sounds like not. This is a bit of a game of chicken with the idea that maybe you pull a couple over, but who do you think is getting pulled over?
Well, I'd just say look at where the American people are. The American people are with this legislation. Over 60% want to see this get done. My constituents are asking me, when are we going to see the next round of stimulus checks? When are we going to have the certainty for our municipalities and for our schools? We've got to unlock the dollars in Michigan to get the testing in place that we still need to do while we're getting the shots in people's arms. This can't wait. Reconciliation, no doubt about it. It's an expedited process. We know that. We saw the other side of the aisle pursue this with a tax scam that contributed $1.5 trillion to our deficit. Right. So.
I don't want to speak for the congressman. I'm sure he can speak for himself. But do you not look at this at all and think that there's going to be some wasteful spending here at all?
Look, if the American people could sit in the hearings like I was participating in as a Ways and Means member, where we offered common sense amendments to your point of how can you make this bipartisan, we offered amendments like a provision, a safeguard that says pay people more on unemployment, enhance that unemployment insurance, but they can't make more on unemployment than their previous job because we need them to get off of the unemployment rolls and onto the payrolls. That was rejected. We said provide more cash assistance to people who are hurting. I support that. But let's put a provision in there that says if you haven't been economically harmed by COVID, then you should not get one of those cash assistance payments. That was rejected. There's a series of things, 292 amendments, virtually all rejected by the Democrats. If the American people knew that this was going to go to bail out union pensions because of union bosses who were greedy and corporate executives who overpromised, Granted, we need to solve that problem, but that is unrelated to COVID, like a lot of things that are stuffed in this turkey that is going to be harmful. It is going to be worse for this country long term, not to mention the debt and the tax that's going to be put on the next generation of Americans because we're spending money that we don't need. Remember, $1 trillion is still unspent working through the system.
Look, if I may here, I worked on a rescue plan. It was called the American Auto Rescue. That one, the taxpayers were paid back and our economy buoyed itself. I think it's very clear here that there is a return on spend for our constituents. You want to talk about pension relief and the pension reform that needs to take place in this country. I'm proud that that's in this bill because this is long overdue. We're about to blow up the PBGC if we don't get this done.
Congresswoman.
Countless people hurting on that front.
Zero
Congresswoman,
reforms.
Congressman.
Yeah, zero
It is-
reforms to the pension benefit guarantee program. I have no problem spending some money to solve that problem. It's unrelated to COVID, and they put zero fixes to make sure that the taxpayers aren't on the hook, and we have $600 billion.
We're going to have both of you come back. I don't.
I
think
love
we're gonna
debating
resolve this
Jodey.
today.
I'll come back.
We appreciate it. Thank you.